Hi there. I continue to work on the book and specifically on the chapter about hard problem of consciousness. And not long ago I started a brief overview of scientific theories related to the hard problem of the consciousness and to the consciousness problem in general. And today, not for the first time, but for the sake of the paragraph in this particular book, my attention was directed to the IIT, Integrated Information Theory. Once again, this is not the first time I'm exploring that theory. I'm exploring some aspects of it, trying to understand that. It seems like a complex thing with many specific terms. And actually what I wrote today as a result of this research kind of make me sad. I am very upset of my own conclusions on integrated information theory. I personally have a very good attitude to Christoph Koch, neuroscientist, famous neuroscientist that I consider to be a very interesting personality, very smart man that I deeply respect. I saw and watched with a great interest a lot of interviews with him, and I very much appreciate and respect his being open-minded. He's been ready to face the facts which are ignored by many other scientists, acknowledge them and try to make sense of them. And therefore, I'm really upset with my own conclusions regarding the integrated information theory. And let me provide you some details on that conclusions. So the theory itself proposes that consciousness is fundamentally identical to specific kind of information, integrated information. Okay. IIT also attempts to explain specific quality of an experience, qualia, what it feels like to feel something, by specific structure of the integrated information. Okay, so consciousness is integrated information, identical, they say, and qualia or experience is the structure of integrated information, identical, which means I can remove consciousness as a term, remove experience as a term, and put integration information in its place, and put structure of integration information in the place of experience, because they are stated to be identical. So if we are performing by this identity the renaming of consciousness and in subjective experience to something else, specifically to integrated information and structure of integrated information, then the hard problem turns into the question how this integrated information and the structure of integrated information how do they relate to physical processes? How exactly they relate to physical processes? IIT answers to that integrated information and its structure are not merely correlates of physical processes, but are the phenomenal aspects of those processes. And this again looks like renaming, term change, term switch. Instead of correlation, we get this is aspect of. They are not correlated, the one is the aspect of another, which, is a linguistic exercise replacing the word correlation with the word aspect. Okay, let's say it's the phenomenal aspect. And what does this phenomenal aspect mean? I asked that question to the theory. And the answer is that it is subjective first-person experience. Do we come to the starting point, back to the starting point with that? Because using the connection of terms suggested by IIT and reverting renames, we get the following. Consciousness and subjective experiences are correlated with physical processes. So this is like, in terms of IIT, it is the same as to say that integrated information and the structure of integrated information are aspects of physical processes. These phrases, as these are proposed to be identical, these phrases are identical. But this statement of correlation is like initial obvious observation with no extra explanation. It's just circle of words replacing one another with no extra explanatory power of the nature of this correlation. So, in that sense, IIT integrated information theory starts to look like a kind of linguistic joke. And it is a harmless joke. It gets a lot of attention, a lot of discussion. And it turns to be nothing. It turns to be a logical zero theory with zero explanation power. And this fact that some activity creates an illusion of explanation is not harmless. Because you see, the logic is that if we have explanation, we stop. Because explanation is what we wanted and understanding is what we wanted. But if we did not get any understanding, if we did not get any explanation at all, and instead we have an impression of that we have this understanding and explanation, this is a reason to stop, and this is not a time to stop because nothing is explained. Once again, when I started my analysis today, which I again repeat was not the first time to, dive deep into the theory. The conclusions that I came to are the ones that I don't like, because I really like people who are interested and who actually developed this theory. Strange situation.